Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Basketball Bulletin. Hope you all are having a good Sunday. We thought we'd jump on here, go live for a little bit, take some questions, some comments, talk a bit about some of the surprises around the NBA, the trade market, all of that. I'm Trevor Lane. He's Donnie Freeman. Donnie, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Still a little bit sick, but hopefully you're doing good as well.
No, I'm saying, man, like I'm fighting a little bit of a cold. I think I don't know if it's allergies. It's weirdly warm here right now. Like we're gonna see a 30-degree drop between today and tomorrow.
That's strange. Yeah.
It's very weird. It's very
Yeah. It was pretty warm here for like 3 or 4 days, and I was like, wow, this is pretty nice. And then Christmas Eve, Christmas storm comes through, and it's like, what the hell is happening? So it's been interesting.
weird weather. I think it's got me all a mess. But lots of stuff going on around the NBA. Unfortunately, not a lot on the trade market right now. It seems like there's a bit of paralysis there as teams are kind of caught in this staring contest. A lot of different things affecting that dynamic. But we'll take questions and comments from the chat. We'll get into some of the latest things going on around the league as well. But I wanted to talk about some of the big surprises around the league, and maybe we kick it off there. What's the biggest surprise to you that you've seen so far in the NBA?
Uh, it's probably a toss-up between two teams and their performances so far between San Antonio
Mm-hmm.
and the way that they've been able to be among the best teams in the league, just in general, but second right now in the West, with and without Wemby, they've been good. They've really stuck it to OKC recently here as well. And then also Detroit being the number one seed in the Eastern Conference. It seems like they have really come on strong after having one of the worst, I believe, seasons a couple of years ago as well in terms of loss streaks and all that. They have been able to really turn that team into what looks like a title contender, right? Like I think that's really cool. So I think those are the two number one things that I would like to say.
Yeah, I do think those two teams have been surprises in a good way. The San Antonio Spurs have been a huge surprise. Victor Wembanyama, his dominance, maybe not a surprise, but the way that whole team has stepped up, I think the way we've seen more teams shift to an OKC style defense where it's a lot of pressure on the perimeter. The Phoenix Suns haven't played that style to great success. The Houston Rockets do that to a degree. The Houston Rockets also crush. Maybe that's a surprise, by the way. The Houston Rockets, the best offensive rebounding team in 30 years.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty big, pretty damn impressive. Anytime you could be the best in 30 years at something, that's pretty insane. When we look at the negative side of things, how bad the Clippers have been. I know they're an older team, but I didn't think they are pulling out of this right now. They are getting better, but they've been awful. How bad they've been on the season has been certainly a surprise. The Mavericks sitting outside the play-in right now has been a surprise. I'm also surprised. I thought the Pacers would, even without Halliburton and without Miles Turner, I thought there would be enough kind of fight in this team that they wouldn't be the bottom of the Eastern Conference. Like I would not have predicted the Pacers and the Washington Wizards would both have the same win total at this stage of the season either. I thought the Pacers would they'd be at least be respectable, maybe competing for that 9-10 seed. Instead, they're nowhere close to it.
Yeah, I think that for the Pacers, that is not what I would like. I understand they lost Halliburton, but they still had Siakam. They still have other guys there. I wouldn't have expected them to struggle that mightily, but it's not the worst thing given that they've got their pick. So just this is a gap year anyway, even if they were successful. And it's not, it's surprising, but it's not the worst outcome for them. It really does suck though, with like teams like the Wizards who are always down there. At some point, you've got to make that climb, right? Like they don't have the ability to really do so. So maybe they need a top 1 or 2 pick. That was one of the things that, I saw Adam Silver was talking about, or I don't know who it was, Shams was talking about, that they had some meetings about tanking and stuff. And one of the things I saw floating around was like, how about just give the worst teams the best picks, just in general, so they can climb out of the holes? Because you give it to other teams like that don't necessarily need it, right? So that could be interesting. But
you think it should just go straight by record?
That wouldn't be the worst thing if you could. But there was also
Well, how bad would the tanking be if that was the case?
But yeah, that the combat to that is like the rebuttal to that is, well, people would just tank, right? But no, it would be also like you can't be down here more than X number of times in so many years.
Like you can't get a top 5 pick over
like
multiple times over 3 years or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, you'd have to do something like that to combat that. But conversely, Boston also in a gap year, also without their best player, number 3. That's pretty interesting too. Like I would have thought that maybe they would have said, you know what, screw it. Like Boston is interesting to me because Tatum has largely been reported to come back. Like, did they? I still think he would need more time. I still don't think it's realistic this year. But did they just say, "Yeah, screw it, let's try to go for it"?
They might. And I think that's part of the problem on the market that we're seeing right now in terms of
Yeah,
buyers and
yeah.
sellers. Like the Celtics would have been seen as a seller. They may still sell like an Anthony Simons just to
Uh-huh.
drop a little further below the lines there, but they may not now. The Bucks, they don't want to be a seller on the market. They're
Yeah,
telling everybody they won't trade Giannis. Giannis, just make up your mind, man. Giannis, just tell them what you want. Tell them what you want. That's it. That it all goes away. Tell them what you want. Do you want to go? Do you want to stay? I'll respect you either way. Whatever you want to do, just tell them what you want. Don't dunk the ball when the game's over. But 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 real quick, because we need to talk about that. But real quick,
yeah.
the Hornets are looking at it saying, damn, we're only 3 games back of the play-in. Maybe it would be good experience for us. Maybe we don't need to sell on talent. The Nets are going to sell, but do they have players that teams want? Maybe Nick Claxton, maybe Michael Porter Jr., but the Wizards, they'll sell. But the teams really want to trade for CJ McCollum, or do they want to just hope that McCollum gets bought out? The
Yeah.
Pacers, they don't want to trade all their guys because they want to have players when Halliburton gets back. We look at the Clippers. They don't have their draft pick. They don't want to trade all their guys. They want to try to win games. They don't want to give OKC a higher pick. The Mavs, they don't want to trade all their guys, especially if it's at a discount. They want to make sure they try to make the play-in. The Jazz, weirdly, they need to lose games, and they may be trying to hang on to guys. The Kings, the Pelicans, they'll sell. Maybe the Pels are telling everybody, though, they want a Desmond Bain type package for Herb Jones, which I think is a bit crazy. So, really, how many sellers are on the market right now? Not many, because too many teams have hope right now. This is Hawkeye style. This is Clint Barton. Just stop giving them hope, NBA, so we can finally get some trades.
Yeah, no, I think that could be interesting too. Like there's some teams that, like we talked about recently, like you were just saying, that should be sellers, but it seems like there's probably just much more in terms of buyers on the market right now. So
Yeah.
I think eventually this will normalize, but for now it seems like it's absolutely a seller's market. And I think it's just gonna take, some more teams to make that decision. But we also could be in a situation where teams just say, you know what, screw it. We're not going to make that decision. Let's just keep on trying to be competitive. And that could also happen. And that could be a thing too.
Hey,
We got sorry, I just want to say this really quick. We got a comment that said it wasn't surprising because Wemby is going to take his team to the playoffs when I talked about the Spurs. The key thing with that was that they've been able to do it without Wemby. He's missed, I
yeah,
believe. I think he's played in about 60% of their eligible games. You remember Fox didn't play in the first 8 or 9 games, something like that too. They've just been really good.
yeah.
So, yeah, and a lot of these teams are also top 10 in both sides too. So it's these are markers. Like I wouldn't have thought the Spurs. They look like right now, like they're just flat out a contender. I wouldn't have thought they were ready to be a contender right now with all those young players, but these
Yeah.
are markers of a team that looks like they're a contender.
If you beat OKC 3 times and OKC has lost 5 times total, like you're a contender. It is what it is.
This is what it is.
How is dunking at the end wrong? Giannis dunked up 9 with like 5 seconds left. And typically it's especially, and the Bulls had stopped playing. So it's seen as an unwritten rule that you don't go try to like rub it in, try to run the score up, that type of a thing late in the game. I talked about this last night. If this was a tournament game
Okay,
where
no one
point
says
differential
anything.
matters, absolutely go dunk. Yeah, 100%. Point differential matters. But this doesn't change the outcome of the game. But Donnie, I say it's not on people to be mad at Giannis. It's on the Bulls to go do something about it. You see him going to dunk, you go put him on his ass. Like that's what the way this is supposed to go. You're supposed to stand up for yourselves, especially on your home floor, and not allow that kind of stuff to happen. Some Bulls players ran over to Giannis, but I think a lot of them went, "Oh my God, this guy is jacked." We're not. I'm not. If it had been Ryan Rollins, if it had been AJ Green or something that did it, this is a very, very different response, I think, than what we saw from Chicago.
Yeah, he kind of gets the ball around midcourt and then like looks like he's not even gonna go for it. He kind of like meanders a little bit. Then all of a sudden, it's like, screw it. I'm gonna go dunk it. And
Yeah.
by that time, he was almost the only player in frame, so they couldn't have really done anything about it. But Still, again, I think it's funny when guys do this. Most of the time, you don't see a vet like Giannis do it. It's mostly going to be like the younger guys doing
Yeah.
something like that. But I think it's funny when they do it because they know how people are going to respond to it, and so they make the conscious choice to still do it regardless. But I just wrote that off as Giannis. He wanted to get some extra practice in. He missed some games and stuff like that. A few weeks, right? He wanted to get in and get a little bit of practice in. That's all it was.
Yeah, he just wanted to put on a little bit of show for the crowd, right?
Yeah,
If
exactly.
it was in Milwaukee, maybe it's a little more defensible. Like saying
Yeah,
you're trying to
okay.
show, hey, I'm back to the home crowd and all that. It was in Chicago.
Yeah, guys always get really mad at that though, because like
Yeah.
you said, it is an unwritten rule, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, if you don't want it, stop him from doing it. I think guys are just so used to guys not going for that, also because most of the time that doesn't happen. That happens like
Yeah.
once every probably few dozen games. Somebody does that.
I mean, it's probably even less. I think it probably only happens a few times a season.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
it's extremely uncommon. So when it happens, it always stands out, right?
D-Rock said the Nets have the best defense in December. Playoffs, maybe. I don't think they even want to make the playoffs. Will Chicago take Claxton from Golden State before January 15th? Will the Clippers take MPJ from Golden State before January 15th? What are you trying to get Golden State to up offers for those kinds of players?
That could be interesting.
I mean, I don't think the Nets. I don't think their plan is to make the. I do think Jordy Fernandez is going to have that team playing hard on a nightly basis, and their defense has been pretty darn good. That said, they're really not set up to go try to win right now. It's not really what they're looking to do right now. They're 10-19. They have won their last three. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Like, they're on the rise. I don't know if that's actually good for them though. Like, is that obviously that's not in their plans of what they're trying to be this season. Like, what if this winds up being just a little flash in the pan and then it costs them AJ DeBonsa or something?
Nah, this is fine right now. I think this is perfectly fine. Like you're still going to wind up among the worst teams. I don't think they want to push for the playoffs or play in either. Really what this is, I think this is a proof of concept that this team can, and there's probably some noise in there, of course, as there always is, but this team can be something. This team has some good players. They're playing like 4 rookies this season.
Yeah.
And it's worked out pretty good. Like I said, they're 7-3 in their last 10. They've been locking teams down. And they've been playing hard for the coach. So I do like that. And, there was a report recently that there are several players on this roster, like a Claxton, that are potentially up for grabs. And at some point, I think they'll make the decision to bottom out and just try not to win as many games. But for now, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I mean, you do want to build upon success. You want to build a culture. Those kinds of things are certainly important. So I'm not saying Nets fans should be worried about these wins or, celebrate the wins and all of that. I don't see them making an actual playoff push, but hey, it's great to see them competing the way they are, especially when not every team competes on a night in, night out basis. As far as before January 15th, yeah, Jonathan Kuminga is not trade eligible until then. We know the Golden State Warriors cannot wait to get him out the door. They've been trying to trade him forever. It feels like they signed him to it. The whole thing, like going back and forth and back for all summer long on his contract, was just to make sure they can trade the guy. Jonathan Kuminga, the type of contract that he signed is very tradable. So he hasn't played much though. Like, I can't imagine he's increased his trade value over the course of this season. He has not played particularly well. The Warriors have had him. He's had some DNPs and things of that nature with Golden State. But if you're Brooklyn, do you want the main piece coming back in a Michael Porter Jr. trade or a Nick Claxton trade to be Jonathan Kuminga?
The funny thing about that is I think both of those guys are just young enough to be a part of your next core alongside of Kuminga if you wanted to try to do that, like 26, 27. And the key thing you said is that he hasn't played enough to increase his value, but he also hasn't done anything to decrease his value based on the report that we got recently that teams are still interested in him as a prospect. They know what he is. This stuff basically doesn't matter whether he's playing or not, whether the Warriors.
They think Golden State just isn't using him.
It just doesn't matter, apparently. So we'll see if that winds up being true or not. But operating with that premise, then yeah, I do think he could be a good fit for them. And he's on the timeline. They've got several guys that could grow and develop alongside him. And maybe he is a star level player like he seems to think he is and has shown flashes of being. But I wouldn't want to give up MPJ specifically for that. Like, I think you'd need, like, for example, that makes the Warriors tremendously better. I think that you need to extract more than just Kuminga. And Claxton also makes them tremendously better. You're
Yeah.
giving them something that they are going to plug in to a big rotation spot immediately. I think you have to get your worth for that. And they're giving up something they're literally not using at all.
Right. So what would you want if you're the Nets? If Jonathan Kuminga is the
Yeah.
salary matching
Yeah.
in an
First thing
MPJ
is,
or a Claxton deal, what else do you want if you're the Nets?
yeah, the first thing would be draft picks,
Yeah.
especially not right now, not this year, but post Steph. Like, I would want draft picks 3 years from now, something like
Mhm.
that. So because that's when it's really gonna, the Warriors are gonna have to blow it up in a few years, just because all these guys are gonna retire, right? I think that if you could get that, that'd be huge. But I'm not sure that firstly, I don't know if they have those, and secondly, I
Get
don't
like
know
a
if they want to.
2028 Warriors pick or something.
Yeah, like, I don't know if they would even want to give those up. Like a 28, 29 first round pick from the Warriors would be great. But
Let me see what the Warriors have.
yeah, but again, if you're Golden State, do you want to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean Golden State can read their cap sheet too. They know
Yeah.
kind of what things are gonna look like at that point. Yeah, Golden State, their 2030 pick is spoken for, but that's it. So like if you could get the 2028 Warriors first, in addition to Jonathan Kuminga for Nick Claxton, okay, that becomes interesting. If you could get Moody, I don't think they want to move Moody, but you got to stack up some salary here. If you could get Kuminga and I mean, Moody is a salary I keep going to, but something like that, plus a pick, 2 picks, I don't know, for MPJ, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I'd say, do they want to do that? But largely, it seems like they've been committed to this iteration of the team, trying to give Steph a good chance to win something over the next couple of seasons while he's still under contract. And who knows if he plays longer than that, right?
Yeah.
And so, if that's the case, you kind of got to put your money and your picks where your mouth is and go get you a piece that elevates your team. And I think both of those players, for different reasons, could be pieces that would be huge on this team. And they'd also get some youth, which is one of the things they really need. So get some more rotation youth over there.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely need that in Golden State for sure.
They got some guys, but you could use more.
All right, let's get into a few more of your chat questions and comments here. By the way, we appreciate the super chat. Somebody threw it there, LeBron to Gold State. Donnie, I've already got it like in the chamber. I'm going to tweet out in just a little bit a picture of Luka and LeBron standing next to each other smiling.
Oh my
with
God.
No text, nothing. I'm just going to tweet out the picture.
No, you should. I thought you were going to say you're going to tweet a picture of LeBron in a Golden State jersey with no text.
Oh no, that's
pure rage.
That would be complete rage. But yes, but with LeBron, let's keep in mind LeBron has a no trade clause. Yeah, so any team he's getting traded to, LeBron has the right to refuse that. And I don't see the Lakers trading him unless LeBron goes to the Lakers and says, I would like to be traded. That's it. Because that no trade clause, it's not like Rob Pelinka is going to go work the phones right now and say, hey, what do you think about a trade? And then if you're Golden State, would you even give up to get LeBron? That's a lot of salary to stack up.
The key thing here is, and if you're the Lakers, why the hell do you want like Jimmy Butler back, for example? Like, you don't want that extra year. Like that's the part I don't think it's talked about enough. The Lakers are better off just holding on to LeBron at that point and having that salary come off the books.
Donnie, I'm at a point right now with LeBron, and LeBron, don't hear what I'm not saying. LeBron is great. LeBron is maybe the greatest of all time.
Absolutely.
But I think we're at a point with LeBron where you could see a future, and we talked about this a lot during this past summer, but cap-wise, there is a path for the Lakers to get better without LeBron on their roster perhaps this summer. I think that could happen. We're now at a point in LeBron's career where a better fitting player who is not as good as him, but does more to mask some of the deficiencies in Luka and Austin's games could actually take the team farther, could make the team as a whole better than LeBron by himself. Now, that said, with Austin Reaves out right now, you probably need LeBron more than that mystery player that I'm talking about there, right? You need LeBron more than that right now because you need somebody who can run the show, who can really go and do everything. So again, LeBron is great, but I think there's the potential, if that cap space is used correctly, that the Lakers could lose LeBron and get better. Now, that was not the case this past summer, and I spent so much time talking about it because people didn't understand that losing LeBron last summer did not mean 50 plus million in cap space to go spend. The math didn't work out that way. This year, that could indeed be the way, and it probably will be the way the math works out. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how LeBron and the Lakers kind of proceed forward here.
Yeah. Do you see the new comment there?
Trevor just said the Lakers are better without LeBron. Don't hear what I'm not saying.
It's already going. Yeah. And the key thing with that is that, for one, text clock, he's turning 41 in 2 days. Okay.
Yep.
Secondly, this team with Luka just doesn't value or need him, LeBron, to be playmaking LeBron as much. And he's able to still slash. His shot's coming back. He started slow. He typically does, but he's, over the last few seasons, been a guy that's able to be a good catch and shoot player. He's always been a good off ball player, whether you believe so or not. It's he's always worked with other ball dominant players before. But I think with this iteration of the team built around Luka with Austin, firstly, LeBron is slotted as a third man. He's never been that before. And then secondly, they need for that player in that spot to do more intangible stuff. Whereas LeBron needs players around him, just like Luka, that are going to do the intangibles. And so you have this problem here where you've got multiple players that need the same stuff. And so when they're out there, it's magnified. And if you're the Lakers, you're obviously going to choose to build around the player that's 15 years younger. Like, it's a no-brainer, right? And
I think even LeBron would say that.
Exactly. LeBron had a quote last year when they traded,
LeBron.
and he said, I understand why they did it. Like, he said, that's the smart decision, basically, to paraphrase. Yep. And so he's better than him now. He's 15 years younger. Like, that doesn't make any sense to be confused about that. And I think LeBron is still phenomenal. He is able to do mostly anything he wants to do on a basketball court still, but the motor does have ebbs and flows. He will show moments where he doesn't compete as hard, or he'll save his energy for other things or things like that. And again, he's 41. I don't really blame him all that much for it, but I think making 52 million is a bit much if you're not going to get LeBron James at LeBron James production levels. Right?
I think given his availability so far this season and his production so far, and I think his production is getting better. I think he's getting his legs under him more and more.
He's going.
I think last year LeBron was worth a max salary. Yeah. Given the way he produced last season. I think this season may be, and again, not just the production, because I think the production is going to get better and better. This may, and I think this stint without Austin Reaves will largely determine this, but this is the first year, I think, ever where you could say LeBron may not return max value, max player value, or production on a max contract.
I think really he was worth that absolutely last year. And frankly, if you want to talk about, like you always say, off the court stuff, he's absolutely worth that. He's bringing much more money than that
for sure.
To organizations, to cities, and all that stuff. But it's not about that when you have to deal with the salary cap and all that stuff. I think that with this setup, like I said, they need players that are going to do more intangible things that fit better around Luka than LeBron does. And frankly, they've just been better with Austin and Luka out there this season than LeBron. And I think the key variable here, where, LeBron was last year extremely good. I mean, February last year, he was the player of the month. The Lakers were, I believe, the 4 seed as well, despite AD being out. Like, he was really, really good. And then post that Miami game, there was that Miami game. You said they had a disgrace to the game of basketball. They were a disgrace to the game of basketball. And JJ called them out. And then after that, LeBron actually locked in on defense and he put more effort into things. I don't think people remember he was, if not their best, he was their second best defensive player in the playoffs. And post that trade, he was locked in a lot. LeBron's interesting because he's not the guy that's going to make a lot of off-ball rotations. His rotations can be late, things like that. But he locks in. If you try to isolate him or you target him, he will play that individual defense still even. But he was trying to do it all, right? He really took on a different role for his team towards the end of the last season. But at that diminished role offensively, is he still somebody you're willing to pay $52 million to under today's climate? Probably not, right? But I do still think that there's a possibility here, like we've said all along, where they shop around. They have all these, not just him, Kleber, a bunch of guys coming off the books. They shop around. They rebuild this roster. They get more of those guys, and they say, hey, LeBron, we've got $20 million. We'd love you on that contract. Right? Yeah. I think that's still a possibility. I don't think that's off the table.
Definitely possible. I don't see LeBron getting a max next year, though.
No, I don't. He's not getting that anywhere. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
And he could come. The thing with it is that LeBron could be a 30. He could average what Luka's averaging, like 34, 8 and 8. He's still not getting a max next year just because of the age factor. Yeah. And next year is probably, if he doesn't retire this offseason, next year is the last season. Like, you're just not getting a max.
I kind of wonder if this year's going to be it.
Yeah, I really think that's on the table. I know everyone's like retirement tour. I really think it's on the table.
I don't think he's not, but it's not like he's bad. It's not like he's bad out there, and he still does some amazing things, and he can help out this team, I think, for sure. And I think he's really going to show his value over the next 6 weeks or whatever without Austin Reaves. I know people keep latching on to 4 weeks. Not going to be 4 weeks. I think that's where we'll really see the value here for LeBron. And you're going to have to put more on his shoulders right now than what you rightfully should on a 40-year-old going to be 41 in a couple days. But that's just going to be the reality of the situation. They're going to have to put more on LeBron, and he's going to either prove people wrong or prove people right in terms of his overall value. So I think this next stretch is going to be really important for LeBron and the Lakers. But I could see a scenario like the one you said, where the Lakers spend a bunch of their free agent money and then say, hey, LeBron, we got 20 million left over. Do you want to come back? Or do you want to go somewhere else? I could see something playing out like that. I could also see LeBron just saying, you know what? I think I'm good. I think I want to spend next Christmas at home with family and just say, that's that.
Yeah, I agree. A couple things really quick. A lot of teams would do that just to cash in on his name, I guess, but there's not going to be a lot of teams that have the ability to just throw him a max without making things happen.
How many Instagram ads would LeBron have to, like social media ads would LeBron have to do to make that 50? Like, because I'm thinking, would LeBron want to do that? Would LeBron want to go somewhere and play for a team that he knows is just looking to cash in on him? If I'm LeBron James, I'm looking at it and saying, $50 million I could get on a max salary. How long would it take me to make $50 million just out of doing some appearances and things like that?
Yeah. I think this is more a rebuttal to me saying he's not getting that anywhere. So I guess if you want to be semantical about it, then okay, I guess maybe somebody would give it to him for that reason. And then lastly, everyone's blaming LeBron like he's the only one on the team. No. Don't hear what we're not saying. He's just the one we talked about.
Yeah.
There's several things here. There's a lot of players. Also, there was very clear data indicating that the Lakers were playing above their head early to start the season. They're the only team in that range in the bracket that has a negative net rating. They get blown. The door is blown off them every time they lose. They win very close games. They have regressed tremendously in defense. Their offense is nowhere near as good as it once was also. And frankly, this team is built to be a team that, and frankly, I also think JJ is not maximizing this roster, because you would think a team with this talent level would be much better offensively than they are. A lot of guys are underperforming in terms of how well they're shooting the ball relative to their career averages. Like, we could really sit here and talk about this for quite a while. There's enough to go around for everybody, including Luka, LeBron, everybody.
Why is that a thing? The Luka, LeBron, like if you say Luka should maybe be a little bit more selective with his shots. If you say Luka needs to play a little bit better defense,
the whataboutism.
Then you get people get all up in arms, all agitated, all riled up. Oh, but what about LeBron? What about this? Why aren't you talking about this guy or that guy or that guy? And then you say something, hey, LeBron needs to be a little bit better on his box out. Oh, but what about Luka? What about the turnovers for Luka? Why is this a thing? Why? Why does that happen? It's okay to talk about a player and say, hey, could Luka be a bit better defensively? Yes, like that's just an objectively true fact. Could LeBron be a bit better with his box outs, his off-ball defense? Yes, that's just a true fact. Yeah. Could Austin Reaves be better when he's the isolated defender in those situations, particularly when he gets into the paint? Yes, he absolutely could. Does he need to be a little more careful with his turnovers? Yes. Does Rui Hachimura need to be a little bit better when it comes to pulling the trigger on shots? Yes. Does he need to be a better rebounder? Yes. Like we can go throughout the whole roster. Why does it become a thing where we can take objectively true things about certain players and it immediately has to get deflected onto somebody else? It is weird, bizarre, and I just don't understand it, Donnie.
It's just where it is. And you could say this about any player, any team. We could get into a rant about stand-em, but that's just how it is nowadays. So you better get with the picture or get lost.
It's so funny. It's like
this is what it is.
But I think you lose so much truth in that kind of stuff. You just lose so much truth of what's going on the floor. Like it's okay. Well, and what's funny is fandom of teams is the opposite. Like team fans are so quick to criticize their own, like usually more than anybody else will. Fans of a team will criticize their team to no end and the moves they make and all that. Player stands will anything. I mean, your player gets caught on camera kicking a puppy and it's well that no. What about Luka? I saw him glare at an old lady one time, right? Like, I mean, it's crazy, man.
I got Trevor on a rant. Yes, like I said, we can get into a whole discussion about that. But on the Lakers, we could do that.
We will leave the stand topic here. It's because the other day on Lakers Collective, we got asked a super chat question about Ant or Luka, and we dared to actually have the conversation about who you'd rather have, Ant or Luka. And the response was as though we were comparing Luka to like a random role player, like a Luka or Tobias Harris, and we're having that. Like that was the response from the Luka stance. There was as though this was some grave injustice. It was absolutely absurd.
Yep, that's just how it is.
Yep. All right, because it's Luka stance versus Bron stance. Insanity.
That is a very real thing.
It's funny.
Yeah,
it's real. Funny.
Give us this one.
Oh, the incoming Russell Westbrook revenge triple. You know that's coming tonight, Donnie.
You know it is.
If anybody would love to kick the Lakers while they're down, it's Russell Westbrook. And he's been playing well for the Kings lately. I think the Kings they're 3-7 in their last 10. They've got the worst point differential in the Western Conference. Like they're not a good team, but they're also a team that, as the Houston Rockets found out, on any given night, if you're not prepared to play against them, to beat them, they can beat you. The Kings can absolutely beat you.
I mean, any team can really. You come in and you play down to their level of competition. You don't take them seriously. Any team can light you up, and the Kings are no different.
Is this a Keon Ellis audition?
Hopefully, if that means that he actually winds up on the Lakers, because the Lakers could use 3 Keon Ellises.
He played last. I mean, I think the Kings could use 3 Keon Ellises. They just
could, which is why I don't think
they just don't seem to agree.
I don't know why they're trading him at all. Like I don't get it.
Yeah, here's what's going to happen. It's going to be Dennis Schroeder. It's going to be Russell Westbrook and Malik Monk are all going to have big games in this one. And honestly, those are all the kind of like quick guards that the Lakers struggle to defend.
Can't guard those guys.
What would your starting lineup be for the Lakers tonight going into this matchup?
We had a comment on that actually.
Okay.
I don't see it, but they asked what we thought of a certain lineup. I believe it was one similar to what I had. I tried to stall to look for it. Sorry, I don't see your comment in here.
I'll see if I can find it.
But it was semi-recently. Anyway, we know that it's going to be Ayton, Luka, LeBron. And so the other two you plug in there. I think Marcus, if he's playing, I believe he is going to be the one to replace Reaves. Rui, I think it's time to pull him from the starting group. And frankly, I never want to see the LeBron-Rui pairing again this season. For whatever reason, this year, they just can't play together.
It's rough, man.
They've been teammates for a few years, and it hasn't been a problem until this year. So I just don't want to see it again. Like even throughout the game, staggered. I don't want to see a period. It's kind of hard to make that happen realistically, but very minimal sample size or very minimal amount of that going forward. And so I think it's time to pull Rui and plug. I would actually plug Jake in there just because I like Vando in that lightning in a bottle, 20 minutes a night type role. If you start him, then he'd play that first shift and he probably wouldn't be back until the second half. I'd like for him to come off the bench.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I would go with Jake as well, especially if the goal of the team right now, one of the things they need to do is find their defensive identity, find their level of care. You know, JJ Redick had those comments about not wanting after the loss to Houston on Christmas Day about certain guys not having a level of care, and it's consistently the same guys. He backtracked a lot after practice yesterday.
It's because he was in the heat of the moment. He was pissed off. You know, JJ is so emotional. He's probably the most emotional coach in the NBA. And
certainly one of them, yeah.
So, like, coming out of that game and then the losing streak on Christmas, the way they lost, all that stuff, you know, he was livid.
Something happened, though, because that flipped from this is going to be a very uncomfortable practice to, well, it was mostly the players talking to the coaches about things.
Yeah. No, he said truths are uncomfortable.
That's what he tried to spin it as. Well, like, oh, you know, I just mean the truth is uncomfortable in general. And, you know, he walked it back. And maybe that's for the best. That may be for the best. Maybe, you know, screaming and throwing chairs and all that, snapping clipboards. Maybe that wasn't the best, the time to push that button. Certainly possible. But I do think if part of it has to be an enhanced level of competition or competitive nature from this team, I want to start a lineup that's going to set that tone immediately. And I think that Laravia and Smart on the floor with the other three would help with that. I also think Rui has got to put up points in this game tonight. Rui's going to have to put up points. And I think there's going to be more opportunities for him to do so if it's more Rui on the floor with Luka than Rui on the floor with LeBron.
Yeah, it's weird because, like I said, he's played well with LeBron for the last few years. I think maybe it's the AD component of it, but something with this just doesn't click the way it did defensively anymore, to where they just get lit up and they can't defend. Some of that's also when Luka's out there. All three of those guys are trying to defend the same guy, but you know, Ayton is not the anchor that AD was. So maybe that's again something that was able to mask that previously, but they had been fine before. But now I just don't want to see it as much anymore. And I think that they're really going to rely on two guys, Rui and in Ayton, two guys that over the last stretch here have mostly been frozen out of the offense. I don't see as many Ayton touches, for example, as I used to. And I think they're going to need these guys to put up points just in general in this absence of Austin, which is where JJ saying Austin being out. And this was something he was asked. He didn't just say it, which matters, but that uncomplicate some of this stuff, right? You know, the hierarchy is missing another guy that's going to have the ball a lot and take a bunch of shots. And so maybe there's more to go around as a result of that. So we'll see what happens.
No, I dug into the stats the other day on the pod, and yeah, Ayton is getting half as many passes from Luka in December as he did in November.
Yeah, see, it's very noticeable that they don't notice him anymore.
He's not getting as many touches, and part of that is defenses have largely been in drop.
Yeah, the drop.
And so you're not getting the blitz, and then Ayton's receiving the ball around the free throw line and being a decision maker, which I mean, but still the Lakers should be able to adjust to that and tear apart a drop coverage anyway. But yes, I do think Ayton has got to get in there and get into the mix. Do you think the fans turn against JJ today if he starts Rui again? Only if they lose. If Rui and LeBron look awesome together today, Rui's a good player.
Awesome.
It's possible. It's possible. But if Rui and LeBron and Luka look awesome together and they go out there and just crush it, and Rui is doing some good things defensively, maybe, and you know, like some stuff you wouldn't necessarily expect, but if that's how it plays out, then I don't think anybody's gonna complain. If they go out there and the starting lineup is a -5 in the first 10 minutes or whatever that they're on the floor, 6 minutes that they're on the floor, there's going to be, I think, frustration.
I think the determining factor for that trio specifically is how well they're producing on the offensive end. Because if they're able to at least keep things even on the offensive end, then they're fine. For example, Rui will go a whole stretch without even taking a shot. LeBron sometimes is a bit passive to start the games, and sometimes Luka's a little bit over aggressive, and that's just all those things together. It's a bit of a bad recipe, so they wind up down early for multiple reasons, like we just said.
Mm-hmm.
You could pass it around, but ultimately they wind up down. And so if they're able to produce offensively, Luka gets hot, Rui gets hot, then I think that trio could be fine. But that's where losing these games, finally losing this, because they had not even, prior to this streak, they hadn't even lost 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
And so JJ was able to still stick with that and not be forced to make a change, right? But that's where, if you've been hoping for that, that's where this could be a blessing in disguise, in that now you have no choice but to make an adjustment.
Right.
Like, it's time. It's been time. Everyone's known it's time, but now if you're JJ and you wanted to do this, but you didn't want to have like bad politics or whatever, now you can come to the team and say, hey, we need to make this change because XYZ.
All right, let's go.
Just do it.
Let's go here. Sean said, I liked all the new signings. Smart, Ayton, Laravia, Adu, but change has to come. JJ can't have Luka win games 40 plus points, no assists, especially to Ayton. I mean, his assists tend to be high, but they have dropped by 2 in the month of December, as I recall. 2 assists per game less in December. AR Rui must be traded for better defenders. So I think that Rui could wind up being, if he's not moved by the trade deadline, you could wind up actually extending Rui, or you could wind up just letting him walk away, and then you've got more cap flexibility. He's at $18.3 million. But they have the ability to extend him all the way through June 30th. So that's something there. With Austin, we've talked about this a lot. So far, what the numbers have told us is that the Lakers are at their best when Austin and Luka are on the floor together, and that includes defensively. And I know there's a lot of people out there who will say, well, Austin and Luka don't work defensively. So far, the numbers have said that they have. We could point to some anecdotal things that would suggest they can't, and I agree that there is some reason for concern, and I don't think you can necessarily just land on, yes, the numbers right now say it works, so therefore it works, period. I think there's still some evaluation to be had there. But as far as if you do land on Austin and Luka simply do not work, I still think you have to sign Austin Reaves to a new contract this summer and then trade him next year, because his value is diminished too much by the fact that he'll be a free agent this summer. So I don't think you're going to get the value you want for Austin Reaves if you land. And again, the numbers say the opposite. But if you land at a spot where you say Luka and Austin cannot work together ever, 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 it's impossible, then you need to trade one of them. And let's be honest, you're not going to trade Luka. So if you're going to trade Austin, you have to get value for him. And I don't think you're going to get value for him trading him now at the trade deadline because of his uncertain future. So that's where you would need to sign him to a new contract before you're going to move him.
Yeah, I think that would be for the best. Lakers would have traded LeBron if not for the no trade. Well, yeah, that's why he didn't opt out. That's probably on the table.
Do you think they would have?
It's tricky because the cachet there, you don't see players like him get traded all that often, certainly from the Lakers also. So I don't know if for sure, but it would have been on the table, whereas now it's completely off the table.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think that matters, the name of it all. And I think that also it's hard to match that salary. And also, like we talked about earlier, do you want to take back a salary that's big for a couple of years? There's a lot of different factors here. But I think just organizationally, they don't tend to do that very often.
Yeah. The numbers don't say they work together. Oh, on Luka and Austin? Sure they do. It's the best pairing on the team right now.
The numbers say that even Rui in that group starts fine. The problem is not, it's just when you mix LeBron into those other groupings, it doesn't work as well. Like, because they need specific things around, all of a sudden it just doesn't fit as good. But right. Austin and Luka work really good. I think their most used lineup was with Smart and Hachimura out there, or Hachimura and Ayton. Those groupings were fine for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, Luka and Austin together are plus 7.4. Either one of those guys either one of those guys by themselves are not that. And the reason why I say even defensively, they're in the 72nd percentile with the two of them on the floor together defensively, giving up 113.2 points per 100. So that's part of why that pairing so far has worked. And especially this is the bigger problem. This is the bigger problem. It's the trio hasn't worked. Luka, Austin, and LeBron plus 14.2 with Luka and Austin and no LeBron. And they're in the 87th percentile defensively.
Look at that grouping though. That's Hachimura, Smart, and Ayton, right? Yep. Like that pairing was good to start the season.
And that's why we're going. It's not, people take it as, oh, you guys hate Rui. No, it's because you need a defensive piece in there. And you can see it. Like if LeBron is out and Rui is in there and it's Marcus Smart, those numbers have been good. It's a small sample size, so you can't, take it as gospel. But I think that's the general concept, is you need to have defensive pieces on the floor with those guys. And if it's LeBron, Luka, and Austin, those three aren't going to the bench. It's not going to be Ayton, which only leaves Rui at that point.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to single LeBron out in this case because they had like 15 games without him. So we had a pretty decent size relative to the season of lineups that worked. And those they were clicking on all cylinders. Like I said earlier, there's probably some noise in there for the early season success.
For sure.
They were able to win regardless.
Like this comment notes, the statistics are against weaker teams.
See,
very fair.
Some of those numbers also flip though, because they played teams that were hot at their time. For example, Portland was an above 500 team at that time
when the Lakers played them.
Like those were teams that were good at that time. So
there's a lot of context in there that you have to take into account. By no means should it be, well, that's it. The Lakers are simply worse with LeBron, and that's the way this goes. And there's a lot more into it, even than just what the numbers are going to tell you, right? But right now, what we've seen so far is it's fairly decisive. It may not be plus 15 per 100 possessions, but pretty decisively, they've been much better with Luka, both even defensively, with Luka and Austin on the floor. Now, this question I think is a good one. Why would you let Rui walk away for nothing? The only way that makes sense is if the free agent market has players that are great replacements for his talent. That's it exactly. You wouldn't ideally let him walk away. For example, we talked about with Dorian Finney-Smith. You wouldn't want to let him walk away for nothing. And we talked all about that, how the Lakers, they gave 3 second-round picks to get him. You can't allow that kind of talent to just walk away. But because he left, whether that was the Lakers' decision or DFS's decision or whatever, because he left, that opened up a little bit more flexibility. And as a result, they were able to get LaRavia, Ayton, and Smart. They probably don't get those guys if Dorian Finney-Smith stays on the team, or at least you don't get 2 of those guys at the very least. So I think that's an important distinction to make. It's not just you want to lose Rui for nothing. It's, are you okay with pivoting away from Rui if there's other things to spend the cap space on? That's the critical piece there.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, I think that they have some decisions to make on a lot of this roster, and big thing with them is that they also don't have a lot of depth anyway. So a lot of this stuff gets magnified in terms of when you go to certain pairings and stuff like that. And, in LeBron's favor, I do think that we've seen that LeBron bench group, even in the last game, they went on that run in that game. And then when they brought the starters back in, it looked poor, right? And then if you're just going to look at plus minus, well, he's out there at the start of the game in LeBron's case, and they're losing always at the start of the game. And then when you go back to the starters mid-game, they're losing those minutes tremendously also. So like he is, and then he's also, I saw a comment that said he's got a bad one for the amount of the whole team overall, plus minus wise. He's only played in much less games than a lot of these other guys, but that defense pairing works pretty well with him out there because, contrary to popular opinion, he can play defense. It's more about with LeBron effort in terms of what pairings is he in. And I think he really works really well with guys like Vando who are going to do the dirty work. So he doesn't have to do as much of that, but he can make those rotations. He can play on ball defense. He can lead the offense, things like that. This season, that's been a successful grouping for them.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talk about small sample size. We're talking about 129 possessions of LeBron on and Luka and Austin off. So we're very deep into small sample size territory. And this is, Donnie, this is not what I would have expected. When we talk about surprises, I would have thought the Lakers would need to have one of Austin or Luka on the floor with LeBron so he doesn't have to do the heavy lifting.
That was the case last year.
Right. But what we've seen so far this season, and we'll see if it continues to be true, LeBron by himself is just fine if it's LeBron and dirty work players.
Yeah.
And that's
Has to be
largely
that.
what we've been seeing. And it's actually been it's been some of the most fun lineups, I think, that we've seen, and maybe gives you some optimism for this Austin Reaves less period that they're about to embark upon, because we are going to see more of the only LeBron lineups out there. If they can get stops, LeBron is quite an engine still when it comes to getting out and running, and he offers a different dynamic than what we see out of Luka or Austin in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. It just looks different when he's facilitating than it does when the other guys are doing it, just because just the way that they're able to do it. Maybe it's because more rim pressure, things like that. But I think with that grouping, they've been successful because you've got a very long, versatile, switchy team out there, and they play to their strengths. They get out in transition, and it looks pretty good. And like I said, they were able to hit that run. And some of what's just happening is that the starting group is putting them in such a big hole that when they go on that run to come back into it, which they've done mostly in every game with this pairing, actually, it gets them close enough. And so whether or not they're able to slam the door shut from there is dependent on JJ putting the starting group back out there. I can understand if he started the game with that grouping, they got in that 10, 15-point hole, and he didn't go back to it throughout the game, or maybe went back to it to close a game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he goes back to it at the end of the quarter, at the end of the second quarter. He goes back to it at the start of the third, obviously goes back to it in the fourth. He's going to that grouping that clearly is losing all of their minutes every time way too consistently. So at what point is this more about JJ? Like, because that's what it is. He just keeps going to these groups that don't work as much. Where we have some noise in here, yes, but we have some pairings that also appear to work pretty good, right? But I think the key thing here is staggering LeBron and Luka as much as possible. I think these guys need to be staggered.
Oh yeah, you need one of them on the floor at all times for sure.
Well,
Absolutely.
yes, that, but I think they need to play separately.
Separately from, you mean even when Austin returns?
Correct. When this team is full, I think these two need to play separately as much as possible, because it just, when they're out there together, I don't think that either is able to really do as much of what they want to do.
Yeah. All right. Mubsy, appreciate you. Helps out a lot with Lakers Collective. Mubsy, appreciate it. Everybody do hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 40,000 subscribers. I love comments like this. See, Donnie, this is when I know I'm doing something right. Trev is the king of making LeBron versus Luka a thing. When Bron missed free throws and won the game on free throws, you acted like he lost us the game. You barely criticize Reaves and Luka. I know when I'm hearing that I'm overly critical of LeBron and I don't criticize Austin Reaves and Luka, and then I hear I'm overly critical of Luka and I don't criticize the other guys, that's when I know I'm doing something right. When all sides are mad at me for not criticizing the other side enough, that's when you know you're doing something right.
I think on this show we've been much more critical of LeBron, but I do know that you cover the team on a lot of channels, so they probably are putting that into perspective here too. And I want to just say for the record that yes, we've mostly talked about LeBron because that's where this conversation took us. But we could really have extended conversations about a lot of guys on this team. Like, it's not really about one player. At the end of the day, it's a team sport, and there's a number of things that have to line up in your favor or against it for you to win or lose these games. We could really do this about a lot.
I've said it so many different times for years now that I've been doing this, that I've said it so many times that if you are trying to place blame on one person, you are wrong. And it's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. If you're trying to say it's all LeBron's fault, you're wrong. If you're trying to say it's all Luka's fault, you're wrong. If you're trying to say it's all Austin's fault, you're wrong. All Rob Pelinka's fault, you're wrong. All JJ's fault, you're wrong. All Rui's fault, you're wrong. Doesn't matter who it is. It takes a lot more than one person to create shortcomings for a team. And there's a much bigger picture that gets missed when we get caught up in all this. Blame this guy needs to be blamed more. That guy should be blamed more. All of that kind of stuff. There's a much bigger picture that I think has to be looked at with all of that.
Yeah, I agree with you. So firstly, this, and then we have super chats we got to get to.
Yep.
Rob has not done a great job in terms of drafting. That's one of the main things that kicked their butts recently. And the only 3-and-D players they've had recently are DFS and Max Christie, both of which are gone, which Rob also gave up picks for an expiring DFS that he then lost. That's lost in the shuffle here. Like that doesn't get talked about enough, because that salary spot turned into Marcus Smart, turned into LaRavia, Ayton, these guys, him and Goody anyway. But he gave up 3 picks for DFS, and DFS walks in the summer, right?
Mhm.
And we were more focused about LeBron taking a pay cut because that would open that space, but in turn that wound up happening anyway because DFS walks. So Rob has had a lot of misses in there, and Max would be perfect on this team, but he also traded for Luka. So like,
Yeah, a lot of value has wilted on the vine.
yeah,
When we look at the mid-level or the exception signings,
yeah.
Kendrick Nunn, Lonnie
Don't
Walker,
do it. Don't do
Montrezl
it,
Harrell,
Mikey.
right on and on. Gabe Vincent, those haven't worked out. Some of the draft picks not worked out, right? You look at, you traded a first to get Russ. You traded a first to get rid of Russ. You traded seconds to get rid of D'Angelo Russell. You trade, I mean, you just keep. And so, why are the Lakers so asset poor? How are they so asset poor yet also thin across this roster? Well, you've this big constant asset churn that we've seen, and rarely have they been able to flip players into assets. Like the Thomas Bryant trade was a rarity where they turned Thomas Bryant into that was amazing. Turned him into 3 second-round picks. Fantastic. But it's rare that you see the Lakers sell at a player at a profit the way they did with Thomas Bryant. You don't see that happen very, very often with this team. And that's part of the issue too, and why the cupboards are so bare right now.
He's made good trades too. Like Hachimura was a good trade.
Yeah, that was a good trade for Rui.
DFS was a good trade too. It immediately transformed the team. The Lakers go on a run right after getting DFS. It's just more about letting him walk in the summer and not turning that into anything, right? So you basically rented him for half a season. Right.
Same thing with Mo Bamba. Remember that?
Yeah,
right.
And Malik Beasley, he let these salaries just go.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything with it.
You turned THT into Patrick Beverly into nothing. Like the value just died. You were left holding the bag, and the value died, and it bottomed out.
Yeah, that's why the team just doesn't have the depth anymore. And then I think the biggest thing is Dalton Connect. You would have expected him to be a player you could use now. You've had several other picks, first or second round pick, that you were hoping they could be players you could use now. One of those guys hit in Max, but he needed to be traded. So just is what it is with that. But that JHS, like, what the hell, man? Like, that's another pick just a couple years ago. These are things they need.
They caught hell for taking JHS and not taking Cam Whitmore, who dropped, right? So the next year they take the guy who dropped, and it still didn't work out. And that was Dalton Connect, and it hasn't worked out at that point. Yeah. I'll just respond. Hell no, you rarely critique Luka lately, dude. I did an entire video on Luka's shot selection lately. Like, I did that like a week ago. I did a whole film breakdown on Luka's shot selection and where his defense was not good enough. I did a whole thing on it.
I'll just say this really quickly. I may be misremembering, but I feel like it feels like Luka has had more like 3 of 12 games since like the Philly game, maybe, or maybe the game he played prior to that, than prior in the season. Like, he's been chucking the hell out of the ball. Okay, so you want some criticism? There you go, because he's done that.
There it is.
But again, like I said, context matters. We could do this for everybody. If you really want to spend another 2 hours, we could do it.
Why do I never hear Trevor criticize Maxi Kleba? That's it, right? I'm not critical enough of Maxi. I don't know. Is Maxi in the NBA next year?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, he's not.
All right. We need to get through some super chats here. We've been going for an hour already. If Rui starts, we riot.
Yeah, that may be a thing.
Lakers,
does he have the balls to start Rui? Because he knows the entire world is like saying, dude, these guys pull Rui. I mean, a lot of people are saying pull LeBron, but obviously that's not going to happen.
I think he very well could do it. I think he could do it.
That's like, the thing with him is that, like, I just want to say that, like, when he came in last year, a lot of people were very high on him because we were so ready to get off of Darvin. But one thing I will say about Darvin was he stuck with some guys too long, but he was good at being experimental. JJ is like rigid with that. He doesn't like to mix and match very much. He has his stuff and he sticks with it.
Is Rui to JJ Redick the same as Darvin Ham or Taurean Prince to Darvin Ham?
Yeah, and Gabe is Cam Reddish. Remember, no. Like, could you ever see, for better or worse, could you ever see JJ starting that all wing lineup with no
Oh,
shooting.
that's right.
Remember Darvin also? Darvin was willing to pull Austin. He was willing to pull D'Lo. He was
D'Lo,
willing
yeah, he
to,
pulled D'Lo and Austin at the same
yeah,
time.
at the same time. Like he was like trying to do stuff. He was throwing darts. Again, that could be a bad thing, but at least I would like to see JJ try some other stuff, right?
All right, this one says Lakers get Jimmy Butler and Herb Jones. How you doing that? So the Warriors get Braun and Bronny Jr. That's the other thing. If you trade LeBron, Bronny has to go as well, right? New Orleans gets their choice of Gabe, Maxey, plus their choice of Peyton or Melton. LA's first, a second, and a swap from Golden State. I don't think that's. I don't think the Pelicans do that. I also don't think the Lakers may do it just to get Herb Jones. They may do that just to get Herb Jones for the long haul. I think though the Warriors wouldn't do it, and I think if the Warriors were involved in this, they would try to find some way just to get Herb Jones for themselves and keep Jimmy Butler.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
But they've been salivating at playing with LeBron and Curry for a few years, so I wouldn't be surprised. They may try to come off Draymond, though, if possible.
Yeah. That's seeming, I mean, you saw that, the whole thing with him going to the locker room and everything.
Yeah, they may try to come off Draymond if possible, above all else, and just put Braun with that, what they currently have, and come off Draymond if they're able to do something like that. But they've wanted LeBron for a few seasons. I mean, they called the Lakers a couple seasons ago about him. So I wouldn't be surprised.
Roan said, can we go through the 3-and-D free agent wings for next season that the Lakers could sign, and what number would be helpful for the team to sign a LeBron, sign LeBron next season? I mean, I'll be honest, it's not great. I would caution, though, that free agents for next season, just looking at the free agent list doesn't necessarily give you a great example of, or a great sense of what's out there and what's not, because a lot of what you can also do with cap space is you can help facilitate trades. But if we're specifically looking at, okay, let's just call it forwards, and let's take a look at the list right now. This is via Spot Track. Here's the free agents for next season. This is what's on the market. In turn, we're looking at forwards. LeBron is out. And by the way, this goes in order of their current salary. That's all. This isn't a power ranking or anything like that. This is just based on current salary. But Andrew Wiggins, he will almost certainly pick up that player option. Otherwise, he'd be a really interesting one. Chris Middleton isn't the same anymore. LeBron, we know where you're at with that. Draymond, I would imagine, probably picks up that player option. Kuminga has a team option, but he's going to rip that up and wind up signing a new deal wherever he's at. Harrison Barnes, he's older. Rui, right? And then we start getting into it. But that's the hard part with these kind of guys, because teams don't tend to let their defensive wing players become free agents.
Yeah, are you gonna take a flyer on somebody like Kenrich Williams? Like he's
you
team
could
option guy.
Tari Eason is an RFA, and I don't see the Rockets letting him go. But if he were to break free somehow, he'd be a clear target.
Yes. Yabusele is in there.
But he's not been great. The Knicks are trying to move him. Our old, Jordan Goodwin still would be great, but he's more of a guard. But does he really want to come back to the Lakers? Like, I think you're going to have to do it on the trade market. The kind of guys that the Lakers want are the kind of guys every team wants, and that's why they rarely hit free agency.
Isn't Keon on this list also?
He may be listed as a guard.
Oh, okay.
And that's why, but yes, he should be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's not a lot of guys. Just not.
Yeah, when we look at guards, you can see, you've got, and the other thing is basically anybody that's a RFA, you just basically remove them from the list. It's not real.
Yeah.
God, if Lou Dort was actually available, he'd be perfect, but it's a team option on him.
Did you see that compilation of him going around?
No.
I gotta send it to you. It's a compilation of all the dirty plays of Lou Dort, where he's like sticking his leg out, all types of things. It's kind of crazy when you see it all lined up like that. He's got a nice clip of like a few minutes, I believe.
The other thing that I would note was something like a guy like Matisse Thybulle. You take a flyer on him on like when he just keeps getting hurt, but like he's a kind of guy that could fit the role that you're looking for. But yeah, definitely send me that on Lou Dort. That's
Yeah.
we know Draymond has some of those too.
Oh yeah, for sure. But Lou's always been a guy people talk about like that too, right? So he's got a good clip going around. But yeah, there's like we were saying, there's just not a lot of these guys. Really, I think the best player I see on this page right now is Gabe Vincent.
Oh no. Oh, Gabe. I don't look if Gabe was a veteran minimum guy, that's fine. Yeah. The only issue with Gabe is that you're paying him $11.5 million.
I'm disregarding the fact that Austin was on that page too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was funny. Now, what are Reaves and Doncic's defensive numbers in the playoffs this year? We have what, 5 games? Oh, without LeBron?
There wasn't any.
I don't think there were very many minutes. When we talk about small sample size, they played 5 games without.
They played LeBron. An entire half together.
Yeah, right. So my point is that there were very few minutes where Luka and Austin were on the floor, but LeBron was not in the playoffs last year. I'm sure it wasn't good, but no numbers from the playoffs will look good against Minnesota last year.
Yeah, I don't know that that's the answer you're looking for.
Yeah, the playoffs where it matters and teams try harder. Absolutely. Look, I'm not saying there are no reasons to be skeptical of a Luka and Austin backcourt, but I'm at the same spot I was at over the summer. Like right now, I think there's more reason to be optimistic about it than we had over the summer based on what we've seen so far. But I just don't think it's prudent to land at a spot that definitively it absolutely cannot work based solely on 5 playoff games. Mm-hmm. I just don't think you can make the kind of like huge altering decisions to your franchise based on what we saw in 5 playoff games, particularly a playoff series that saw Luka get sick and Austin get hurt.
Yeah.
I think you need more information. It's possible that's where we land. I think that is still in the realm of possibility. I just don't side with people that are all in on one side or the other at this point. I don't think we can make that determination.
Yeah, I continue to think that nothing really matters until we see another playoff performance. Right now, it looks like they fit, and the numbers say they fit, but I don't think people will care unless they fit in the playoffs. And I think that's a sliding scale also, because like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean they have to make it to the Western Conference Finals? Like, what does that mean?
And does that mean anytime either one of them gets ISO'd, they stay in front of their man and they get a stop, they get a block, they get a steal, something like that? Because the belief is going to be that they cannot defend anyone. So like they could both have good defensive games in ways that most people would not notice, and then get burned in a one-on-one ISO situation. And that moment will be grabbed and trumpeted around everywhere as definitive proof that they cannot work.
Yeah, I think that that's something that we need to maybe come to a realization about, is that it's kind of hard. But the problem is that we only have really one season before we have to pay Austin, this current season.
Yeah.
Right. And the Lakers have a tough decision to make. That's why they're the ones that make the big money and not us. They got to make the decision on that. And we'll see where they ultimately land. But I think they probably also want to see what it looks like in the playoffs, because we know that it looks like so far that they can perform well together. And it looks like Austin can scale up to be a facsimile of Luka, if Luka's not there, of course, and he's able to be a number 2. He's able to put up 30 points in some games, things like that. We've seen all of that stuff. That's indisputable fact. We've seen it. Mm-hmm. But have we seen them go on an extended run in the playoffs? No. Will we see that this summer? I don't know.
I hope so.
I hope so, but I don't know. But we need to see these things. But ultimately, the front office, whether they see that playoff portion or not, are going to have to make a decision on Austin.
All right, let's go here. If this team had LeBron's contract to pay 3-and-D players, they would make up for Luka and Reaves' defensive inefficiencies. Luka would be able to focus on getting steals, and Austin can draw his charges. Yeah, I mean,
that this season. You'd see that next season.
That would be the idea for next season. Yeah, you can't just erase LeBron's salary and replace it with a bunch of 3-and-D players. It's just not the way the cap would have worked this last year. Yeah. You would have had. I did the math back when Dorian Finney-Smith was looking like he would probably pick up that option.
It was like
year.
$6 million.
Yeah, and it was like 10 to 15 million more that if LeBron just walked away, that you would have in spending power. Obviously, with Finney-Smith gone, okay, you up that to like 30, But even that, you're not getting 3 and D players, nor were those players out there on the market. But the bottom line is that it wasn't like, oh, LeBron is preventing this crazy superstar wants to come to the Lakers and LeBron's salary is stopping them from doing that. That certainly was not the situation, nor would they have had a whole lot of flexibility to work with had LeBron said, I'm out, and just walked away.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens next summer.
Yeah. All right. Trading Austin Reaves is an option, but he has a player option. Why would any team trade for him unless they get his promise to extend with them? Limits options right away. Yep. Yeah. That's exactly the point we've been making. That if you're an opposing team and you're giving up significant, and the Lakers would need significant assets to move Austin Reaves. If you're giving up significant stuff, you're not going to do that if you think there's a chance Austin could just walk away in the summer, and that would certainly be a risk for any team trading for him.
Another big part of that is if you're trading for him, he's not making any money currently. It's kind of hard to get back what you'd want if you're because you just can't match enough salary unless you're giving up a lot of picks. You can't match that in quality of player because there's not a player in the league that makes his salary or less that's worth more, I think.
Tell me a team who wants Austin. Somebody said. I would imagine most 29 teams would want Austin Reaves if they could get him. Obviously, depending on the price. The issue is seeing how Luka and Reaves are performing against athletic teams. I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron is our best player in the playoffs again, and that lack of confidence is an issue. I certainly don't think Luka is lacking confidence.
I guess he's saying maybe the lack of confidence in the way that they perform against those athletic teams.
I do think they have to have some counter punches and be a bit more prepared for those athletic teams. That will be and has been their weakness now for some time. Even pre-Luka, that was the Lakers' weakness. The athletic teams that can really press on the perimeter and give them issues. That's been a problem for a while now, and that's something that in some ways is on the coaching staff to figure some things out for that. Luka and Austin also need to be as athletic as they can be, in the top shape they possibly can be. There will be an athleticism deficit, but they're going to have to find ways around that. Every player is going to have strengths. Every player is going to have weaknesses. The question is whether or not you can live with those things. And if you are going to say or make an Austin and Luka pairing combo, athleticism should be right there, up there at the top of the list in terms of things to look at and say, well, this is a negative and this is how it could not be sustainable in the future.
Yeah, I think some of that also comes down to JJ again with his utilization of rotations and also play calling. Because if it's just going to be pure pick and roll or pure ISO and you don't have the proper spacing out there, etc., then obviously it's not going to look great. I think you need to figure some stuff out with that to be able to counter that. Because they do struggle with that type of stuff. Mostly, I'd say Luka's fine versus anything, but Reaves has been the one that's been shown to struggle with that more. But even he's able to brute force at times and get to what he wants to get to in certain aspects of the game. So I think a lot of that comes down to play calling and stuff.
The comment on tired of people not understanding roster construction. You build around Luka and LeBron by putting real 3-and-D wings at shooting guard and small forward. I mean, honestly, I don't think they're building around LeBron anymore. But yeah, like we've been talking about that for years. I mean, seriously, since like 2018, we've been talking about the formula being very simple, that you put guys who can defend and guys who can shoot with LeBron or now with Luka, and that tends to yield success. That's been the formula for what? It's how they won in 2019, 2020. Just putting defense around those guys.
Yeah,
that's the way that's worked.
I still think that building around Luka is also building around LeBron because you put the exact same players around them.
Yeah.
They're not like building with him in mind as much anymore because he's 41. It's like that's not rocket science. But I think that still the same players you want around them. It comes down to more so like how good can they be out there together? And so far they haven't been able to be great out there together, those two specifically.
All right, we got a few more here. Happy holidays. Do you think the Lakers can do Maxey, Gabe, and a first and a second for Herb and Bay?
No.
No, I can't see the Pelicans. If they would, look, Herb Jones can't be traded until January 14th. If I am the Lakers, the exact second that trade is legally possible. Like I've got the league on hold, or I'm dialing the league's number, and as the second hits, the trade is legal. I'm dialing the last number to put the call through. Like I'm hitting send that call, right, and putting that in. The Lakers would do that so fast if you could do something along those lines, but the Pelicans would never do that.
That's not happening. And we got this. I wanted to just highlight this. This was my whole point. Like, I understand the Reaves part of it, not getting commitment, but I think this is a really big deal. He's just not making enough money to make it worth it to trade him. Long story short, like he's their best asset, but it's not worth it to trade him because you're not going to get a Reaves caliber player or better back because he doesn't make enough. Maybe in the offseason you could do something with that, but not in the in season.
Exactly. It's the logistics of it. Yeah. Monk and Ellis for Rui, Dalton Connect, and a swap. So I don't think Malik Monk fits what the Lakers need. I love what Keon Ellis can bring. I think he would fit what they need. Value-wise, I think this is fine. If I'm the Kings, though, why do I want a Lakers swap? A Lakers swap is only valuable to the Kings if the Kings feel like they're going to be better than the Lakers in the year that swap is. And the Lakers have Luka, and the Kings are starting a rebuild.
Yeah. I would like this, actually, for the Lakers. I think that getting another guard that can score would be nice because you see JJ sometimes try to go to Nick Smith, which is like the same archetype as Monk, which is funny because aren't they both from Charlotte? Anyway, you would I think they would go to him and he'd be pretty good for them off the bench, but they don't do full line switches, so I've never really been one to say the bench needs this or that too much because they always mix and match a lot. But I think having another guy that could create their own offense reliably would be nice. Because one thing I think that this team is lacking is when you go to some of these guys like a Rui, for example, they're not able to create their own offense. They're not able to create offense for others more often than not when plays break down. And so they're either forced to either shoot or pass the ball at that point. And I think that having another guy that could be another secondary creator or third, fourth creator in those lineups would be nice.
All right, let's go here. Sorry, I lost it. Here it is. Getting Sharp, and I'm assuming it's Porter Jr. Now will save the Lakers season.
I'd love that.
I like Day'Ron Sharp. Shares an agent, by the way, with Austin and Jake LaRavia. Porter Jr. will save the Lakers season this year and next year in case LeBron retires.
Who are you trading?
Who are you trading to get that? That's a lot of salary. That's a lot. Like, what is it? 38 million for Porter Jr., 6 for Sharp. Yeah. So that's like 45 million bucks in salary. That's Rui, Maxey, Gabe plus.
They're not doing that.
No.
they're just not doing, because Porter alone, I think, is outside of the Lakers' price range. It's like for what they can realistically give up and get back. Just him alone. And yes, I would love Porter alongside Luka for obvious reasons. He is a flamethrower. He's Rui plus. He's a better rebounder. And he would be a better fit because he's not unwilling to take those contested shots. And he's also just a great shooter. I'd love him alongside Luka, but like, they're not going to do that. And that says nothing for Sharp. I'd love Sharp too, because they could really use another workhorse out there that plays one of those big positions, is able to bang down low and stuff like that. And they would love that too. Yeah, but I just don't see that happening. But he's the easier one to get because he doesn't make as much.
I think they had a chance to get Day'Ron Sharp this summer, but getting Ayton probably prevented that from happening.
Yeah, I guess they really...
And I don't blame them for doing that.
I guess they really... and he's been good this season, but the way things ended last season, I wouldn't have had faith in him, but I guess they had a lot of faith in Jackson. Or maybe that's just more agent collusion because he shares an agent with Ayton also. So
and Luka, yeah, I mean it could be, but you also got Jackson was also about 2/3 of the price.
That's true.
Of what Sharp would have been. So I think that's a factor too. But yeah.
But he's been good this year. I don't have any problems with Jackson this year.
All right, let's go here. Can the Lakers get Walker Kessler in restricted free agency? No. Restricted free agency is it's no fly zone for most teams. They just will not. They will not wade into that muck because teams are behaving as though bad contracts is is something they're allergic to. And essentially, you have to offer an above market value, in other words, bad contract, in order to get a player away from a team. And the Jazz are not going to want to let, unless the Lakers grossly overpay in a free agent offer to Walker Kessler, the Jazz aren't going to just let him go. So that's the problem.
Yeah. I do wonder what his market looks like this summer in terms of like what the Jazz are even willing to offer him, because he did not want what they offered last offseason. But he's got a season-ending injury. So do you just take a qualifying offer? Like what happens there? I wonder.
I think the Jazz still want to re-sign him. They're just going to try to sign him to a cheaper contract if they can.
But
maybe add some team protections.
If he didn't want that last summer, he may say, "I'm healthy this year. I'll bet on myself."
Yeah. Yeah, and the people saying I don't want to trade Austin Reaves or whatever, dude, if the Lakers get a good deal for Austin Reaves, trade Austin Reaves. I'm not opposed to that at all. I'm just telling you the way the Lakers see him and the kind of value they need to get in order to trade him. And the reality is that you're not going to get a player better. Like if the Lakers were to trade Austin Reaves right now, you're not going to be happy with the return. You're not. You're going to be mad at the front office for why would you sell so low on Austin Reaves? That's what the conversation would wind up being. If you could get value for Austin Reaves, if you told me they can get Giannis for Austin, yeah, let's go get Giannis, right? But that's not realistic. I think the bar for trading Austin Reaves is you have to get whoever is going to be the guy with Luka for the future. That's the bar. Right or wrong, that's what it is in order to trade Austin Reaves. And that's how the Lakers are going to view it. You're not getting that, especially not right now with him being a free agent.
Bar or otherwise, shoot me. I don't want to trade him for a bad value.
Yeah.
I mean, people just hear what they want to hear because we spent a good amount of time explaining that one, he probably going to get traded because of the contract situation. Maybe he won't give them a commitment. And two, where are you getting a better player for $13 million or less?
Exactly. This comment said, what would a good deal look like? Name a good player out there that earns that little. Exactly.
The only player that comes to
mind is Herb Jones.
Like he's the only one.
Who?
Herb Jones. Don't they have the same salary right now?
They have the same salary, but
like that's the
Lakers wouldn't do that. Herb Jones is not the guy with Luka long term.
I don't know if the Pelicans do that either, for the record.
Sure.
But like there's a comment that said we just say that teams won't do trades. Well, yeah, because we're trying to be realistic. Like obviously I would like to say, oh, hit up Houston and say, let's trade Kevin Durant for Rui. Yeah, sure, they're going to do that. They're not going to do that crap. Like that's not how this works. Yeah. You have to consider from both sides. Like I know ideally you can put together a trade that works in the trade machine that looks good from the Lakers perspective, but if you don't want a player, what makes you think the other team wants that player? Why do you think you can just offload your bad players, your baggage, and get a meaningful upgrade without giving up assets in return? That's not how this works. So, yeah, there's a lot of different factors that go in, which is why this stuff doesn't play out the way fans want it to most of the time. So, for the Lakers, I mean, the reality is that there's not very many meaningful ways to upgrade this team. I don't think there's a singular move that they can make unless they're able to pull back a star somehow like a Giannis that's going to change this team enough this year to push them over the top. And so do with that what you will and operate accordingly if you're the Lakers.
Exactly. It's all you can do. Again, if there was, I am to a fault. I am team first.
Yeah.
Right. You tell me there's a deal out there for Luka that's going to make the Lakers better. Great. I have a hard time seeing it because who are you getting that's better? If you told me I could trade Luka for Wemby right now, okay, maybe you're going to talk about something like that's you can at least have the conversation. But otherwise, are you finding a trade that's going to work? No. If you told me you could trade LeBron, if you told me right now you could trade LeBron and you can get Evan Mobley, I'll drive LeBron all the way to Cleveland.
Damn, like that.
Right? Like I'm not worried about any particular player. You tell me you could turn Austin Reaves into Giannis, I'll drive Austin to Milwaukee. We can bring Jake LaRavia with us, right? We could be three white guys riding in a car all the way up to Milwaukee. I'm not worried about protecting any player. The player first stuff is the exact opposite of how I look at basketball and how I view the sport. I want the Lakers to win a championship, period. I
love
don't care about which players need to be on the team in order to do it. What is the path to win? That's it.
I love Mobley, and I think he'd be a great fit. I just thought it was funny. You said LeBron for Mobley, that you said Reaves for Giannis. I'm like, where's this? Like,
I'm just picking random names. Like I was trying to think, get LeBron back to Cleveland. Who would I ideally want? You know,
because if you said LeBron for, I don't know, Jokic, sure, I would understand.
Yeah, hey, LeBron for Jokic. I'll drive LeBron to Denver. Right? Bronny can hang out too. Whatever. Like.
No, I think they think you have an affinity for certain players, and you want to hold them at any cost, and I don't think that's true.
Because people want to hear what they want to hear, and people want to hear. If people latch onto this player is bad, they want to hear me say that player is bad. They want to hear me parrot what they think. Yeah. You never hear me say this player is awful, get this player off the team, that kind of stuff, but any player. And so we get latched on to like these certain players that, oh no, you're biased toward this. You want to keep this guy. No, I want the Lakers to win. I've seen a lot of players come and go. There have been a lot of players who have come and gone. There have been guys that I've liked. There have been guys that I disliked. Doesn't matter. What I want to see is the Lakers win. Period. That's it. And if that means trading anybody, that's fine. If that's going to get you to ultimately winning and improve the franchise. I hated when Eddie Jones got traded. That sucked. I loved Eddie Jones. But they won a championship, so I can't complain. That's the way it is.
This guy really thinks the Bucks will give an MVP champion for
no. It's a hypothetical. It's not real.
No, don't even. There's never been a better sign that it's time to wrap the show.
Oh my gosh.
It's impossible to win.
I can't. Oh my god.
We can legit do this.
I'm going to have to drink before tonight's game at this point. Oh man.
We just legit. It was very clear that was a hypothetical, and not even like anything serious. It was just an example.
It was just I'm just underscoring that I'm not against trading any particular player if the Lakers can improve because of it. I'm more than okay with it. You're just not going to hear me say run this guy out of town, get this guy off the roster immediately, anything like that. It's not the way I approach things.
Yeah, you're just never gonna. It doesn't matter how many times you say it. It's just not gonna happen. It doesn't matter.
It's not gonna matter. If I'm not saying catapult this person into the sun, they're gonna think I am biased for that player.
Yeah. Hopefully they're being sarcastic. Yeah.
Hopefully. All right. Okay, everybody. This was a fun though hour and a half here on a Sunday to talk some basketball, talk some hoops, get into all this. Appreciate all of you. If you haven't done so yet, please make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like button as well. Thanks again. Till next time. This was awesome. See ya and stay safe.